Hey everybody! It's been a while. I haven't been doing this. I've done one after like about a month of not uh, podcasting anything or broadcasting anything. It was like a little bit over a week ago. It feels a lot longer since I've um, been broadcasting, but it was technically just a little over a week ago, and I'm back. I've been wanting to talk about this, but I haven't done any research until this morning. Work is slow right now, so I want to talk about Abbott's border military base that could cost Texans $500 million. This came out on the Texas Observer about 3 days ago. This is the 23rd of February right now. But about 3 days ago, this article came out. Abbott announces that he is building a sprawling 80-acre base camp that would allow the state permanently amass a large army in a strategic area, saying it would be minimal and it would save money in the long run by lowering other temporary lodging expenses. All right. Now, I'm all for border security, but just out of curiosity, when it comes to this migrant situation, what good is throwing another base camp if it doesn't process the migrants accordingly? You know, if you're just doing nothing but cage people all over again, like the way it was from as far back as the Obama administration. What's the point? What's the point of this? At the press conference, the Texas military's forward operating base was signed in, done while talking the same talk of the U.S. Department of Defense permanent outposts built to sustain wars in Afghanistan and Iraq that enrich contractors along the way. Okay, now see, I'm all for enriching contractors going out there making bases and stuff like in Afghanistan and Iraq. But those were actual wars. You know, this is a humanitarian aid. This is a humanitarian crisis here at our borders, especially here in Texas, because they can't cross through Arizona or New Mexico desert. They'll die long before, they cross, or just shortly after. Now, the Texas Military Department is using Team Housing Solutions. This is in New Braunfels, just a couple of cities north of this San Antonio. That's where I'm at. That was, like most Operation Lone Star deals, given to them without anyone able to take a competitive bid for the project. This is mostly because Governor Abbott, used his border disaster declarations to keep that from happening. Okay, nobody had a fair shot in bidding for this base, for the military base that was supposed to be built. Accordingly and appropriately and legally, not monopolized or by any form of, inappropriate methods. Supposedly, the Operation Lone Star had deployed thousands of soldiers without adequate housing supplies or support. Now, with the funding, the military is spending like never before. So saith them. Okay, these are their own words. Okay, here's a couple of facts. The military already has 2 border base camps. Okay, one in Laredo, which is very south area, close to the southern tip, and the other in Del Rio. Okay, now it's not an Eagle Pass, but it's just around that area. It's just not as close as Eagle Pass on the border. It's not right on the border there. Team Housing Solutions built and operates those other 2 bases as well. Okay, now that's important to know because all of this is looking like a possible conflict of interests. Team Housing Solutions out of New Braunfels has already been used for 2 bases, is being used for a third, and nobody gets a say so or gets the opportunity to profit off of this because of the governor who's using his disaster declarations to immediately get funding and pay this company to make the bases. Okay, nobody's given a shot. So this is a possible conflict of interest situation. He's benefiting off of all of this stuff, and he's using the team housing solutions as a tool in order to do that. Now, it takes a little bit more than just these coincidences to prove that. Somewhere down the line, the money exchange has to be done, and it has to be observed, and it will lead to a determination as to whether or not there's a conflict of interest. For example, he might be paying Team Housing Solutions, and Team Housing Solutions might be contributing donations to his campaign. And it might get even deeper than that. The Judge Clarence Thomas scandal is proof of this. That, you know, it's possible that he's getting perks. Okay. Texas' new forward operation base will allow Abbott's army to double down on his efforts to show up the federal government at all costs. Okay, now this is going to take a little bit more time. And this is without any kind of speculation. This is fact, okay? It allows Abbott's army to double down on his efforts to show up the federal government. Okay, so far, he's not showing up anything, okay? My worthless governor, and I know you're getting tired of saying this, like, I'm pretty sure at the very beginning, you're like, oh my God, is he going to say worthless governor again? Yes, I am. Actually, I am. This douchebag of a governor, how about that? This douchebag of a governor, okay, him putting that razor wire in the water and more walls that keep falling down, especially during the Trump era where they made it 10 feet taller, all this other crap. Is that actually showing up the government? No. No, it's not showing up the government. It's just being a douche. It's just being a douche to the process of what is supposed to be going on with the migrants, vetting them and processing them and all that good stuff. Something that Alejandro Mayorkas, who was assigned by the current president, and even as far back as Obama, to do that. Now, lately, throughout the past 3 years, there's been interference. There's been teardowns. There's been pushing out, closing down and pushing out anything U.S. government. Again, that's not showing up the government. That's being a douche. That's being a dickhead. Okay? Ruining, and this is what I've been saying for the past few segments whenever I touch this subject, which is unfortunately quite a bit. It's quite a lot. It's taken up most of my posts throughout this year. But I have to say it, and I have to say it again. You know, taking asylum seekers, calling them criminals, arresting them, and then putting them on buses after accusing them of being, you know, traffickers and drug dealers and rapists. You know, some of them actually are. And they're put on a bus without background checks, without even their own identifications, just a piece of paper for them to check New York or Chicago, and that's their destination. Okay? That is not showing up the government. That's being a dickhead. Okay? Putting the actual traffickers, rapists, and drug dealers amongst asylum seekers, busing them, training them, and flying them to sanctuary cities, that's not showing up the government. That's just being a dickhead. Okay? And these are facts. He's doing inappropriate uses of his power. A lot of y'all, for some reason out there, are thinking, this is what power looks like. No, this is what being a dickhead looks like. With political power, while abusing political power, misusing a political power. misappropriating his political power. Okay, and then there's DeSantis copycatting his shit, his stuff, and then there's the one in Arizona copycatting his stuff. You know, all of that is nothing but abuse and misuse of power. It's not real usage of it. It's just being a dickhead. Okay, now back to this one last segment. Texas' new forward operating base will allow Abbott's army to double down on his efforts to show up the federal government, last three words, at all costs. Really? Let's talk about the costs, okay? You know where this is going if you've been following my shit. You know where this is going. My favorite quote in the whole wide world, okay? It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. The legislation is approved over $10 billion plus in total funding for Abbott's Operation Lone Star scheme. 10 billion? Yep. 10 billion. Now, back in November of 2021, Abbott claimed he's only going to be spending about $3 billion on this project. Okay? Each base, however, has costed $500 million each. Del Rio, $500 million. Laredo, $500 million. Eagle Pass, $500 million. That's $1.5 billion so far out of the $10 billion. Razor wire, billions? No, just 11 million in change for the razor wire. Okay. Okay, here's where it amps up to 5.1 billion. State funds to criminalizing migrants. All that paperwork and all that good stuff, notarizing them as criminals. Okay, that's where it jumped up to 5.1 billion. Not exactly 10 billion. So where's the other 5 billion at? Okay, because totaling up to 5.1 billion has been like 7 million here, 456 million there in efforts of criminalizing migrants. Okay, and the wall and all this crap. Now, and that's not including the total of 12 billion that he has funneled into the military-styled border buildup. Funneled? Yeah, funneled. Because if you remember, for those of you who remember, for those of you who don't, scroll on back to in light of Governor Greg Abbott's corruption. Okay, this is where I was trying to tell everybody during the election year that how corrupt this guy is by way of the money swindling that he's doing. He's taken money out of Health and Human Services for the border. Okay, he's taken money out of juvenile sentencing and detention for the border. So they're juveniles that are going in there for something like graffiti, and they're coming out more dangerous because they're being thrown into juvenile detention where they're treated a little bit more animalistic amongst more violent and amongst more gang-related kids, juveniles, because this is juvenile detentions. And all the funding that's supposed to keep everything in check and in order is making them more nutty. Okay? Because the funding that goes to them is not going to them. You understand? It's not going to taking care of these kids and making sure that they come out rehabilitated, recovered, rehabilitated, restored, okay? Rescued. You can hear some pretty phenomenal, great stories coming from kids that have been through the process and have come out saved. Devoted to God and all that stuff. They changed their evil ways and everything. Okay? 12 billion out of Health and Human Services, out of juvenile detention and juvenile probations. Okay? And juvenile centers. Family health and family protective services. San Antonio alone is in the top 5 cities out of the entire nation that has the highest domestic violence ratings. Okay, I'm single because I'm not looked at manly enough for not giving a woman the back of my hand. I've never had to do that, and I don't want to. I don't want to join my gender in that thing. But the flip side to that is here in San Antonio, I'm looked at as a wussy. I'm not looked at as a real man. Can you believe that crap? But that's just one little aspect of it. Aside from my little hellhole-ish, you know, uh, marital status, non-marital status, aside from my personal problems with it, San Antonio alone has a high rate of domestic violence. Family protective services would be seriously needed, in this city and as well as others. Because Texas is a big state, it's its own country to a certain extent. It runs like its own country. $12 billion into these military-style border buildups, okay? According to him. And that's not including the $500 million each base is costing, despite the fact that the legislature, the government has already approved up to a total of $10 billion, okay? But money is still being funded out of this, okay? Food stamps, of course, he's lowering the budget on that also. I can't remember the rest of them, and I don't think I've got it in here. I used to have all of my notebooks at the ready whenever I saw, something, and I would go, oh, let me get this book, let me get that book, let me get this book. And so I'd be pulling them up and reading them off. Also, the abortion and everything medically and anything that could save the lives of women, budget cuts off of that. Budget cuts out of the prison systems. There's been a lot of reports throughout the past year about heat exhaustion, dehydration, starvings, more violent attacks, and all this good stuff going on in our state and federal prisons. Okay? The reason for that is because they're living a little bit more animalistic, a little bit more ferocious, even for small, minor federal crimes, like having a leaf of marijuana leaf in your possession. Okay, one little marijuana leaf that obviously a guy's going to smoke later. He's not dealing. But Operation Lone Star had put a woman for one leaf into prison for it. And she made bail and all this good stuff. And then later on, the charges were dropped. But that's not the point. The fact of the matter is that all of this was being done in Operation Lone Star, and money funded to appropriatize all of this was stripped and budgeted and removed. We went into, one bill annually, and it dropped down to like 600 million because of these budget cuts. Not enough. It's not enough to keep our prisons in check. Okay? But even that money was funneled from these accounts straight into Operation Lone Star, totaling up to $12 billion. Again, where's the rest of the money? Okay? If you could funnel $12 billion out of budget cutting other departments in this state, what in the world would you need $10 billion from our federal government? From Congress, from the legislature. Where's that money? 5.1 billion has been spent so far the past 3 years. 5.1 billion. Okay? And he's promised only 3 billion would be spent in securing our border. He spent up to 5.1 billion, but he's ascertained 10 billion from the government and 12 billion from our own state. Where's the rest of the money? Where's the rest of the money? That's $22 billion. And he's only spent 5. Where's the rest of the money? I'm telling you, I've said it again. I'll say it again. I've said it before. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Belief, yes. You're being fooled to believe this propaganda that we're being invaded. I'm in Texas right now. I've been saying this from the very beginning. There's no invasion here. There's no migrants with guns, attack weapons. You know, what invasion? There is no crops being destroyed from the border all the way out to these cities. There's no cattle being slaughtered, no barns being burned, no farmers being viciously murdered. Hell, there ain't even stories of dead dog out of the past 3 years. I'm telling you, it's total bullcrap. It is total propaganda. You're being fooled by the propaganda, and your taxes are paying for it. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. You know this. You know how this works. Guys. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry for beating the same drum all this time. But dudes, this stuff keeps happening and it's just allowing me to. It's allowing me to go on and on and on. Guys, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. You're being fooled into this propaganda that you're in danger. And then to a certain extent, you are in danger. Because my governor is busing, training, and flying illegals, or not so much illegals, but migrants, some that are actual criminals that he is accusing them all of being. He's saying they're all criminals, and yet he's the one that's actually busing them straight to you. So to a certain extent, it's true. But none of the money that's been going on to my governor right now has stopped the flow of migrants. It's not even slowing them down. And if they make it across the border, guess what? He's busing them to you. He's not even saying welcome. He's just loading them onto the bus. He's stripping them of their IDs. So you can't have your city leaders or state leaders or whatever leaders do background check. Your state justice department can't do background checks accordingly. He's taking their health records, their medical records, stripping them. So you don't even know who's infected with something or carrying an STD or is a COVID carrier, the latest COVID carrier. If not just the simple flu. Okay? You don't know. Nobody knows. I don't even think I don't think we here in Texas knows. Because again, every document that they come across the border with, they're being stripped of. Their ID, their medical records, their criminal history. We're finding out now, in 2024, how groups of gangs are attacking. They come tatted. There's testimony of them being tatted all up their face and all over their heads. And their arms and forehands, backhands, all the way down. If they're wearing shorts, all the way down to their ankles. You know, they're coming out in the open. And they're attacking Americans. They're attacking your citizens. Yeah. $10 billion and $12 billion funneled through its own system. $10 billion of your taxes. A total of $22 billion if you live here in Texas with me. Going to border security that isn't providing any security, and now we got these military bases along the border, and you believe anyway, you believe that you're safer. You think that this is power. It's not power. It's just the political leader being a dick. And that's the God's honest truth. Look at the news. Especially pay attention to those that are pitching into the propaganda. The Fox News, JRL investigates. Who else? I can't remember their damn names. U.S. immigration, that's not actually formed through the U.S. immigration department. U.S. immigration update, I think it's called. Nothing but propaganda telling you that they're being invaded, they're dangerous, and they're all saying that it's Biden's open border policy, except Biden's not the one busing them. Biden's not the one throwing them on trains. Oops, excuse me. All the bubbly from the soda kicked in. Biden's not the one putting them in planes. Okay? That's all Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott. That's all his doing. Look, I'm sorry. But go to those propaganda videos, and even though they're going to tell you this is all Biden's fault, where's Biden? This is all his thing. Why isn't he doing his job? Blah, 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 blah. And this and this and that. But here's the thing. Greg Abbott's not doing his job. He's exercising political rights, sure. He's using some kind of duty, but he's not processing the migrants the way he's supposed to. And he sure as all hell isn't making it safer for all of us. Y'all want to talk about being brave and being, proud and being boys that are proud of this nation. And you want to talk about being patriots, and you want to talk about being sovereign sons and all this other crap. But as far as I can tell, the reason why you're still looked at as nothing but a bunch of hate groups is because you don't have the balls to take on anybody that's actually causing problems. You're not up here stating Abbott's doing this bull crap. You're just following the same bull crap that's going on, the propaganda BS, and saying Biden's not doing his job. Where's Biden? That's all you're saying. And you're saying Trump needs to be president or you're going to riot. You're not going to riot. You're just going to shoot up the next gay bar. Okay? There's not going to be any riots. Because everybody knows nobody beats the U.S. in the War Department. Okay? Very little do. Vietnam could say that. Vietnam. Hell, you guys think we lost Iraq and Afghanistan. We didn't lose Iraq and Afghanistan. We just got tired of eliminating leader after leader after leader. Man, none of those guys that are in charge now are on that deck of cards. And the only thing that the current leaders over there are doing is tormenting their own citizens. Okay? There hasn't been an attack from the Middle East on U.S. property territory, let alone on U.S. soil. We didn't lose those wars. We just got tired of kicking their goddamn asses. Pardon my French. So, back to this situation where we got all these patriots and hate groups calling themselves lovers of America and Christian soldiers, God's army. No, there ain't going to be a war. There ain't going to be a Civil War II. It's just going to be a couple of punks shooting up a gay bar in elementary school. A parade. That's all that's going to happen. You're going to march around and you're going to shout at the Jews. The Jews will not replace us. That's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to do. Occasionally, there's going to be one that's going to plow through a neighborhood, through a crowd of people. One. The rest of you are going to say, oh, he's not one of us. He was crazy. You're all going to punk out. That's all that's going to happen. That's all that's going to happen. But back to this. Yeah, it's all about the belief. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. You all believe this propaganda BS where you could see clear as day all these guys with their phones and their cameras recording migrant asylum seekers. They cross the border and the first thing they do is raise their hands and surrender. Invasion. Suspicious. Something. Oh, I don't know. Biden. It's not Biden. It's nowhere near Biden. It's Abbott. It's DeSantis. It's Arizona's Dookie, whatever the damn name is. So yeah, I've taken up about half an hour's time. I'm gonna go ahead and chill out because I've already said this before through previous posts, and here I am saying it again because they're making me to. They're making me say it again with the next form of crap that they pull. You know, I'm just a delivery driver that works for 3 different delivery apps, and you know, all I got is a GED to my name as a form of certifiable education. But even I could see this bullcrap that's going on out there. I think it's time you guys did also. Okay? Spread the word. You don't got to tell them that you learned this off of me. I'll know. But, I don't say but. However, you just got to, open your eyes and look at this stuff head on. Don't be scared, okay? Just look at it. See for yourself. You don't got to decide. You don't got to say, dang, Chris is right. You don't got to say that. I know I'm right. You don't got to say anything like that. You don't got to admit to nothing. Nothing, honey. Just look at it, okay? See for yourself. See what's going on. What's really going on. Take a look at all these guys that are filming all these asylum-seeking migrants while you're listening to them saying overwhelmed. Keywords like suspicious. Keywords like, invasion. Okay? Look, listen, determine for yourself. They're very contradictory. Okay? You got guys that are sitting on the side of a road happy to get arrested. These criminals. Well, yeah, they crossed the border, but, when they're lying in the desert, starving and dehydrated, honestly, what kind of crime could they do? They're sitting in a desert road, happy that they got arrested, having to even get the cuffs on them. What kind of crimes, we're not talking we're not talking The Godfather. We're not talking about a Corleone. We're talking about 5 dusty Latinos in need of some food, in need of some hydration, in need of a bath. How is that, how is that a threat? You know what is a threat? I said it already. I'm going to say it again. You know where I'm going. You know what's a threat. It's happening right now. Attack in this subway. Attack at Times Square. A group of attackers. Muggers. Robbers. Okay? It's happening right now. And nobody knows where they are, who are they, and all this stuff. Well, yeah. Their IDs got stripped. And then they got sent without papers to a sanctuary city, unbeknownst to the city. Unbeknownst to the sanctuary city. I'm a GED, and even I can see this. What's your problem? Huh? Huh? What's your problem? All right. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy, guys. Just, let's get it together, okay? This is Chris Comments signing out. Y'all take care. Y'all take it easy. We'll see you next time. Keep on keeping on.